Are smart motorways a dumb idea? Welcome to Mark and Pete. Here's a thought.
Smart motorways are meant to ease traffic congestion and help drivers during a busy spell. But when it goes wrong, it begs the question, why are they the road to hell?
Yes.
Well, many campaigners are calling for all existing smart motorways to be scrapped. Now, this is in response to the government cancelling the building of all new smart motorways over cost concerns as well as safety concerns. It goes even further. Now, the AA, that's the Automobile Association, long established for helping motorists throughout the country, have also joined the campaign to say these measures should be scrapped. Smart motorways may be implemented, and it is an idea to try and ease congestion. But unfortunately, there have been many fatalities. So here's the point. Edmund King, who is the president of the AA, told the media recently his concerns over the permanent hard shoulder should be reinstated across 375 miles of existing motorways. Now, his comments really resonate. Basically, he said, drivers don't trust them. The technology is not foolproof, and 37% of breakdowns on smart motorways happen in live lanes. And basically, those drivers are sitting ducks.
Yeah.
Clergyman Pete, I ask you, what are your thoughts on smart motorways?
Well, I think that was an interesting comment you quoted there about technology being unreliable. And I think depending on technology, when there's an alternative, is a little bit foolish. But I think that the principle of a motorway being that you have lanes which are dedicated to moving traffic, and you have a separate lane if anyone needs to stop for an emergency, is just being abandoned here. And immediately you've got a different sort of road. It's no longer the motorway as we have always come to know it. It's just another dual carriageway. So it's different. But I think that the trusting in technology is another issue, because you may trust the technology, even if the technology works perfectly. By you here, I'm talking to the government or the highways agency putting things into place. You may trust it, but drivers may not. And as soon as they don't trust it, you've got an issue, because you've got to have them obeying the instructions on an overhead gantry to the letter, or to the symbol, I suppose. And if they're not doing that, the smart motorway is dumb. It's just not able to communicate in the true meaning of the word dumb.
Yes, I agree. And the Department for Transport said that the new schemes would have cost more than £1 billion. And obviously that's a lot of money. So obviously this is a point to reevaluate. Now, for our international listeners, we should also just clarify what a smart motorway really is. Essentially, there are three types. One is controlled, meaning that you have a permanent hard shoulder but uses technology such as variable speed limits to adjust traffic flow. Yeah. Fair enough. But the other is a dynamic one, which is where the hard shoulder can be opened up at peak times and used as an extra lane. Now, when this happens, the speed limit is reduced to 60 miles per hour as opposed to 70. Yeah. Now, the third one is an all-lane running. Now, that's where the hard shoulder has been permanently removed to provide an extra lane. Emergency refuge areas are provided at regular intervals for cars. So that's effectively like a little inset where you can come off that fourth lane. The problem with this is, though, that many people have said, even experienced drivers, professional drivers, those who are on the motorways on a regular basis, will say that sometimes, either during bad weather or many other occasions where traffic is very condensed, you can't actually see a vehicle that has broken down. And so often your reaction time, even though that you're meant to leave a lot of distance when you're in very heavy traffic, it can be hazardous. Now, I come back to the point that people have unfortunately not only seen serious accidents, sadly many have died, many people have died as a result of this. And so what campaigners are asking for is basically go back to common sense in their view, which is you reinstate the hard shoulder as it was originally designed, and the only vehicle that goes on it would be an emergency vehicle to help traffic situations, or a broken down vehicle, but
Yep.
not to be used as a navigation route. And here's the thing. So, Clergyman V, you and I, we're both qualified drivers, meaning in the sense that we can drive. We have a driving license. We can go out and about. I will say that when these were introduced, it was certainly a concern for me. I've seen incidents, not a fatality, but I have seen incidents where a broken down vehicle has been on that what would have been a hard shoulder, and basically rather urgent measures, should we say, and reactions have had to be taken by other drivers, swerving away, trying to avoid the broken down vehicle. And I just think it's completely mindless to think that having that what would have been a safety zone, that's what I would really call a hard shoulder, a true hard shoulder, to take that away from drivers is surely just an accident waiting to happen.
Yes,
surely.
yeah. Well, when it comes to safety, you always remember the mantra "KISS: keep it simple, stupid." And you've got to have that in place. A hard shoulder in place is a very simple thing. There's somewhere I can move over to if I'm in difficulties. Now, of course, you could break down in the main lane, but
Yes,
normally
that's happened.
Yeah, of course it's happened, but normally it's possible to at least move over.
Yes.
And that's the principle involved here. You're close to running out of fuel. You're somehow, there's some sort of problem with your exhaust has fallen off, whatever it is. You can move over to the side and or even a puncture. You're normally able to do that. And so you've got a really simple thing. I can always go over there. Now, of course, there were already areas where there was no hard shoulder at junctions or approaching junctions, and there was massive signs up saying no hard shoulder. Yeah. And I think the people thinking up these smart motorways has to think, well, why was all that attention given, saying there isn't a hard shoulder, how dangerous it was? To then remove the hard shoulder just seemed to be silly. And it's trusting too much in technology instead of having the simple, tried and tested formula, which is that you just have an extra lane where people can stop and are expected to stop. Now, even on the hard shoulder, you are recommended to get out of your vehicle on the opposite side to the traffic and then stand on the grass verge or away from the car.
Yes,
you're
not meant to stay in your vehicle.
You don't say, in case someone drives into you there. So I think it's just ignoring all the safety signals that we'd seen before. So time to abandon the smart motorway experiment.
Well, I agree so. But here's the other thing, which is I have to put the counter argument from a government's perspective. Now, I know that with obviously with COVID, very few people went out and about. Few people actually went on the roads. But of course, we're back now to normal levels of traffic. So how do you then start to ease the congestion? How do you regulate the traffic? What sort of things that the government needs to do if they reinstated the hard shoulder, effectively scrapped and abandoned the concept of a smart motorway? What should they be thinking about in terms of keeping the 3 lanes on a motorway safe, but at the same time not annoyingly congested?
Well, I think that the problem here is that whatever you do, whatever measure you take to try and increase the number of lanes available on a motorway, you will always get an increase in traffic to fill them. So I don't think there is any measure like that you can take. I think that the only measure you can take is to have alternatives to car travel available, which are simple to get to and cheap rather. Unfortunately, years ago, as many people will remember, there was a ripping out of a lot of the infrastructure of England, with the railways being torn up, which was a tremendous system.
The beaching, yes.
Yes, and now we're in a difficult situation because they're just not there, and it'd be very expensive to put them back. But my controversial idea is put them back.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's going to be
And
difficult.
very, very expensive. But
Yes.
I think I can guarantee less expensive than the recent exercises in protecting the country's health and the lockdowns, etc. So, if we can make those sort of decisions for the good of the country, can we make a decision for this expense for the good of the country going forward?
Just to close out on the congestion thing and safety side, the interesting thing is there have been many experiments. But one potential thing, which has always been a bone of contention for many motorists, is around definitely congestion, etc. But the other option is a pay-as-you-use principle. Technology, going back to the technology, where smart motorways were put in place, but again, I definitely am against using the hard shoulder. But what if you had a simple sensor in your car, basically meaning that you would charge based on usage? Now, that would actually start to change the dynamic of the way that people use transportation, meaning could you use the local bus? Could you use the
pushing
train?
people
now,
towards
the
a
reason I
default,
say that is that this idea has been proposed before by professional organizations as well as amateur enthusiasts who said, well, look, if we are to get people out of the car, it's not to abandon the car, it's perhaps to start to use alternatives in a way that suits people's either business lives or personal lives in a more effective way. We've become very reliant on the vehicle. We've even designed, retail parks and even, dare I say, new model cities where it's all built around the vehicle. Whereas if you had something where it sort of got people to think a little bit smarter, shall we say, maybe that might ease the congestion side. But the key here has to be the paramount importance, which is safety. Wherever happens, it has to be safe. But I'm keen to know what our listeners think about this, because many people have got different views on a smart motorway. I wonder what they think.
Yes, let us know. It's very simple to do so. Just go to markandpete.com, just check you're subscribed, and you can leave a comment on this episode, and in fact, every episode. So we look forward to hearing from you. But that's it for Mark and myself for this week. Catch you next time.